Welcome back, guys, to another phenomenal error coin educational video. Okay, this is part of a summer-long edu series, is what I call it, of videos that we are going to be focusing on the things you need to look for before the busy coin roll hunting season, which is generally during the fall. Okay, so during this whole summer, we're going to be talking about various errors and varieties that you could find, that you could possibly make money from, that you could possibly enhance your collection and make it a little bit more unique. Whatever your flavor is when it comes to this wonderful hobby that is coin collecting, all right, I'm going to make sure that I give you as much information as possible that typically some other people would charge for, $4.99 a month. No, I'm just kidding. But in this case, we have a really interesting one here, and this is actually going to piggyback on the first video that I've highlighted on error coins, and that's going to be Clash dies. So you'll want to stay tuned for this one. Now, before I get started, as always, you want to subscribe, hit that bell for instant notifications. Your boy Blue Ridge will be doing giveaways all summer long. All right, we're a few short weeks away until the beginning of the summer season. Now, typically, I would say we're knee-deep in it. I've already done a few giveaways, but officially, we're going to be starting June 21st. So you never know. The very first giveaway video might show up on the first day of summer. But with that being said, make sure you hit subscribe, hit the bell. So let's go ahead and get started with a little bit of a kind of elaboration on the whole Clash dies thing. If you guys haven't checked out that particular video, there is going to be a link at the end of this video, or you could just click the link that's right above the top part of the screen that you see here. But there's going to be a couple different options for you to check out that beginner's video on Clash die errors and what it's all about. But to kind of recap a little bit about that video that I did earlier, Clash dies, okay, occur when two dice hit up against each other, while they're striking coins, okay, somewhere along the line, one of those blanks doesn't quite make it into the striking chamber, and then, the dice hit each other, and then you have the impressions of both the anvil and the hammer die clashing up together. So you have the reverse details on the obverse and the obverse details on the reverse. I hope I didn't lose you there. But it translates into some pretty remarkable eye appeal onto coins. Okay, you have those clash marks that transfer onto the actual coin itself, and that is your Clash die phenomenon. All right, so let's take it up a step further, okay? And let's talk a little bit about a different type of variant to the Clash die, okay? And this is actually called a Mule Clash, all right? For those of you that are probably not as familiar with the term mule in coin collecting, and no, I don't mean, the animal that, packs up a bunch of saddlebags and all that. That's, for a different day, different story. But a mule, in a general sense in numismatics, is the unintentional pairing of two different dies that strike one coin. Okay, some of the most famous mules that we've seen in history, the Sacagawea Stay Quarter Mule, okay, and then there's also the Lincoln Cent paired with the Roosevelt Dime Reverse. That's also another famous mule. As a matter of fact, the last example of that coin sold for $138,000 a few years ago. But a Mule Clash is almost on that same kind of premise, okay? So you have two different dies, two different types of coins, okay, that clash up together. And then you have the impression or the design details of one other coin that is not a penny, for example, maybe a nickel or a quarter. So two dies of different denominations clash up together unintentionally, and there you go. Okay, so you'll have a clash on a coin, okay, much like you see here. Now, this is the Lincoln penny that I showed on the other video, which kind of illustrates die clashes in a more generalistic view, okay, when you have two of the same denominations, two of the same design of die for each set that clash up together. All right, so you have the intentional Lincoln Cent obverse with Lincoln's profile, and then you have the Lincoln Memorial design back clashing up. Okay, that's the normal clashing, if you call it normal. So on a mule, typically mules were a thing back in the 1800s. As a matter of fact, there were a number of coins that are well known because of being a mule clash, and these are things that collectors are constantly trying to find and cherry pick because they are all extremely valuable. They are all pretty rare. So let me give you a few kind of examples of some of those 19th century mule clashes. So the first one I'm going to talk about is one that's probably one of the more easier accessible mule clashes, and that's the 1857 Flying Eagle cent that was clashed with a seated Liberty $half. Okay, that one's pretty well known. I've owned a few examples of this coin that I've cherry picked in the past. Another one is an 1857 Flying Eagle cent that was clashed up with a seated Liberty $quarter. All right, so you're going to have some of the elements, some of those design elements from that seated Liberty quarter clashed up onto the design of the 1857 Flying Eagle. The one that you see on screen here is an 1857 Flying Eagle cent. Okay, that was actually clashed with a $20 double eagle die, which is this is the most interesting, the most rarest mule clash that you'll ever find. You know, it's kind of hard to believe to find a penny, and then you're like, whoa, is that Lady Liberty's profile from the $20 doubled eagle Liberty? Okay, it's kind of hard to fathom. I mean, you see the images here, you can't quite really see it until you put them side by side. And here's a side-by-side comparison of the two coins. So you have the Flying Eagle, you have the $20 double eagle coin. Now take a close look to the obverse of that Flying Eagle cent, and you'll notice that you'll see the outline of Lady Liberty from the $20 double eagle gold coin. All right, it's pretty neat. I want you guys to just kind of, maybe pause the video and take a look at it just so you can see the outline. It's very faint on these. They weren't really that strong of a clash to begin with. On the seated Liberty $half, that one's pretty strong. You could see that one pretty well. But on the $20, this puppy right here gets overlooked all the time, even when someone's trying to really cherry pick these coins. To give you a little bit of perspective on how much this coin is worth here. Now, this one sold on Heritage Auctions for just over $30,000. Okay, now it is a mint state coin, so it was high graded to begin with. But this is a coin right here, because of the clash, is worth about 15 times what the normal market value is for a mint state 64, 65 Flying Eagle penny. Okay, which is what this one is. So there are a couple other lesser known mule clashes. There's the 1864 2-cent piece that was clashed with an Indian head cent of the same date. Okay, so on an 1864 2-cent piece, you'll actually see the design devices clashed up from an Indian head cent from 1964 in the shield. It's actually really neat. I've seen one before. And then there is a 1870 shield nickel that was clashed up to an Indian head cent as well. Okay, same thing. Right in the shield lines area, you'll see some of the Indian head design details that were clashed on there. It sounded like Mint employees had a ball of a time just kind of experimenting with, different denominations of coin dies and clashing them up and then making actual coins and saying, Benny, you forgot to change the dies in this. And then all of a sudden you have out in circulation, you have these, these Flying Eagle cents that are clashed up to these other denominations of seated Liberty and gold eagles and all that stuff. So it's a really cool kind of history prospectus on the Mule Clash itself. Now, I say that this was primarily a 19th century era phenomenon, okay, until now. There's probably less than 10% of you that know that a 1999 Lincoln penny was discovered just last year that was determined to be a Mule Clash. Okay, so here's the coin right here. On its face, it doesn't look like a whole heck of a lot. All right, I'll be honest with you. It looks just like a regular Lincoln penny. All right, but if we take a close look at a certain part of the reverse, all right, and I actually have a close-up detail shot for you. There you go. All right, and you're probably asking yourself, well, what am I looking at? It looks like it's clashed, all right, a little bit here. You do see some letters, okay? I think it's clashed with possibly another Lincoln cent. So how is this a mule? Well, it's been determined that this was clashed with a different denomination of die. Okay, now they can't really say for sure which denomination that is, whether it's a nickel or a quarter. Okay, it's all about matching up the actual the typography, not typography. Was that making maps or is that? Never mind. Okay, matching up the type style. There you go, of the actual letters used on these respective coins, and then matching them up to what you have on this clash. Okay, there's just enough evidence that they could probably make that determination on what it is, but they have kind of knighted this coin as being the modern day Mule Clash. Okay, so you have a Lincoln cent that was clashed with possibly a Jefferson nickel obverse or reverse die. It's a pretty neat coin. Now, this was discovered last year. Here's the only thing is, this is the only example that exists. Okay, it was graded, with the mule designation, which that's a huge ask right there to even get a third-party grader to recognize this coin as being anything but a Mule Clash. But this one right here, the grading company gave it, its blessing, which is pretty significant, in the coin era world. A coin like this has never been out in the marketplace. Nobody knows what it's worth. I would venture to guess that it's worth a lot of money, okay, seeing as how it's the only one that is in existence. But I have a firm belief that there are more of these to be found, okay? Not a lot of people have been looking because, the clashing is right to the edge rim of the coin, that it's incredibly overlooked. Most people are actually looking for just the wide AM variant of the 99, okay? That's a $100 coin in itself. But now there's reason to look for the 1999 clashed reverse Mule Clash Lincoln penny. All right, so you'll want to keep this in mind as you're coin roll hunting through your pennies, especially you folks out there on the East Coast that have more accessibility to Philadelphia minted coins. And this is a Philadelphia minted coin only. This is not on a Denver, it's not on a San Francisco, proof or whatever the case may be. This is a one-shot affair, incredibly rare, only one known. I think it's high time that we put a little bit more advertising on this coin clash, and let's find ourselves a second, a third example, and let's kind of make a market of this. Let's see how much these things are worth. Woo! That was a lot of fun to talk about a subject that, I had to do a lot of research about this coin, and it has kind of fallen off the wayside as far as overall publicity of what the coin is. But I'm glad to bring this back out into the forefront. And yeah, let's see if we could find another example of this coin right here. It'll be neat to see what happens. I'm your host, Blue Ridge. You can call me Sean, of course. Thank you for joining in on this wonderful episode. Again, check out that other beginners clashing video, okay, die clash error video that I did earlier in the day, which is a compendium to this particular video. You'll want to check that out if you don't know what clashing is. All right, so check out the link here. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you for all the views and support, and I'll see you on the next one.